We come to the next part of this lecture, part 3 of William Hazlitt's essay on familiar style. So right now he was talking about this familiar style. He says he describes the features of this familiar style, and he says that he tries to say that this style should be used which is free from all those affectation, all those vulgarity. It rejects all that is loose and unconnected, and it doesn't use all those fashionable words. Rather, it uses the best word, which is at the same time in common use. And the words are not thrown together in any random combination. So he compares words to money. He says that it should have the stamp of custom, which gives it value, which makes it proper for circulation. And then he compares words to clothes. So if it is old-fashioned, it look ridiculous when you wear old-fashioned dress. Just like that, you should keep aside all those words which have now become obsolete. And now, though he had this great criticism against the style of Dr. Johnson, he has great admiration for this particular writer, that is Charles Lamb. According to him, he says, Mr. Lamb is the only imitator of Old English style I can read with pleasure. He is so thoroughly imbued with the spirit of his authors that the idea of imitation is almost done away. There is an inward unction, a marrowy vein, both in the thought and feeling, an intuition deep and lively of his subject, that carries off any quaintness or awkwardness arising from an antiquated style and dress. The matter is completely his own, though the manner is assumed. Perhaps his ideas are altogether so marked and individual as to require their point and pungency to be neutralized by the affectation of a singular but traditional form of conveyance. Tricked out in prevailing costume, they would probably seem more startling and out of the way. The old English authors, Burton, Fuller, Courier, Sir Thomas Browne, are a kind of mediators between us and the more eccentric and whimsical modern, reconciling us to his peculiarities. I do not, however, know how far this is the case or not till he condescends to write like one of us. I must confess that what I like best of his papers under the signature of Alia, still I do not presume amid such excellence to decide what is most excellent, is the account of Mrs. Battle's opinions on whist, which is also the most free from obsolete allusions and turns of expression, a well of native English undefiled. So he goes on praising the works of Mr. Lamb. So you know Charles Lamb, you have read this essay titled Dream Children, and you know that he was also fond of using all those allusions and references, and he also used a lot of obsolete expressions. So, even though he used all these old phrases and all those allusions from Old English, William Hazlitt has a great opinion about Charles Lamb, because though he believes or he argues that even though he imitates Old English style, he can read him with pleasure, because even though he takes the spirit of the old authors, we don't feel like he is merely imitating these old authors. The idea of imitation is almost done away. We don't feel like he is just mimicking all old authors. We see that there is some kind of an inward unction. Unction is a kind of an annoyment. We see a marrowy vein. We see that it is so deep, lively, and which is there seen in both in thought and feeling. So you have read Charles Lamb, and you might know that it is when he talks, even though he uses all expressions, he makes it into his own. He makes it feel so lively and deep. So he says that the matter is completely his own, although the manner is assumed. So even though he takes the manners from Old English, he makes the matter his own. That makes his work unique, even though he takes obsolete expressions, all those foreign expressions, he makes it his own. That is his uniqueness, according to William Hazlitt. While he has complete protest against the way Samuel Johnson uses all those big words. And he continues, he says that old English authors like Burton, Fuller, Coleridge, Sir Thomas Browne, they are also a kind of mediators between us. They also use all these obsolete phrases, but they are, compared to all those eccentric and whimsical modern people, they act as kind of mediators. And all these things, all these writers will make us understand the importance of Charles Lamb reconciling us to his peculiarities. Charles Lamb's peculiarities remain distinct when you compare all these writers. And he says, among all those essays he have read, which had the signature of Elia. You know that Elia is the pseudonym of Charles Lamb. So he says that I have read almost all his papers and I love this essay the best. That is Mrs. Battle's Opinions on Whist, which is most free from obsolete allusions and turns of expression, which contain less difficult allusions and all those turns of expression. And then he takes the line from what John Dryden used when he described Chaucer. These are the lines: a well of native English undefiled. So this is what poet John Dryden wrote in praise of the pure poetic language used by Geoffrey Chaucer. So here William Hazlitt takes the same quote to give praise to Charles Lamb. He is a well of native English undefiled. He says his essays are ingenious, original, and it comes from a highly gifted author who have the same sort of charm and relish like Erasmus. So he thinks that his essays have the same charm as the work of the renowned Renaissance scholar Erasmus, who has written colloquies, or it looks like a fine piece of modern Latin have to the classical scholar. So he is showering great praise for this writer Charles Lamb. And now we come to the end of the essay. He says that, so the essay begins with the sentence, it is not easy to write in a familiar style. He closes this essay by saying it is easy to write a gaudy style. So he continues, or we see the link between the first statement and the last one. He says that it is easy to use a gaudy style or a vulgar style which has this effect to use this affected language, just like showering or throwing out all those paint in a canvas. And there are there are painters who just smear their canvas with all those colors, all those palette of colors or palette of showy colors, and they claim it to be a modern work. Just like that, he says that it is easy to write a gaudy style without ideas, as it just like spreading all those palette of showy colors or smear in flaunting transparency. And what you see is just words. According to him, it is just the writer who uses a gaudy style is only playing with words, is just juggling with words. So these are the lines, words. These are the lines from Shakespeare's Hamlet. This is Hamlet's response when Polonius asks the prince what he is reading. So he says, what is the matter? So words, words, words. What is the matter? Nothing. So it is just a play with words. When you ask the content, it is the words will never give out any idea about the content of this work. So he says that the florid style, flowery language, vulgar style, gaudy style is the opposite of the familiar, is the reverse of the familiar. And the last is familiar style. Plain style is employed as an unvarnished medium to convey ideas. So you use plain style to convey your ideas in a pure manner, unvarnished manner, and the first is resorted to as a spangled veil to conceal the want of them. So if you don't have a clear idea about what you are trying to write, you will resort to the first style, that is florid style. So florid style act as a spangled veil. Spangle is something like a shiny metal pieces which you use to decorate cloth. So you use all those decorations to conceal the lack of clear idea. So you use plain style to convey ideas clearly, and if you don't have a clear idea about what you are trying to say, you will use the first one, that is florid style. And now he gives out a passage, and I feel like this passage is the way he is trying to convey that you should avoid flowery style or a gaudy style. So you should read the next few lines with understanding that he is trying to give out an example of gaudy style. Look at these lines. Look through the dictionary and cull out a florilegium, rival the tulipomania. So look at the sentence. It is a perfect example of a vulgar style or a gaudy style. So here I feel like the writer is trying to give out a few lines which look so gaudy, which uses all those high big words, which uses artificial language, and which makes us rethink about what he tried to convey through this essay. So he says that look through the dictionary and cull out a florilegium, rival the tulipomania. So if you are planning to write in a gaudy way, you just look through the dictionary and take out a florilegium. Florilegium is a collection of flowers. You take out you go through this dictionary and take out a group of words which look so big and rival the tulipomania. Tulipomania is something like a craze for tulips. So you cull out different flowers rather than going out with a single tulips. You can take out different words, high sounding words. And he says, rouge high enough and never mind the natural complexion. So there are people who uses a lot of makeup and they have some kind of an aversion to natural complexion. There are people like that. So rouge high enough. So he's trying to tell all those writers who prefer gaudy style. So he take it with a pinch of salt. He says these things we sense a kind of sarcasm in all these lines. So he is addressing all those writers who use gaudy style. He says that you use all those high makeup, rouge high enough, and you are the people, you are the group who have this aversion to natural complexion. And vulgar, who are not in the secret, will admire the look of preternatural health and vigor, and the fashionable, who regard only appearances, will be delighted with the imposition. And he says that there are groups which will admire this artificial look, this fashionable look, who regard only appearances, will be delighted with this high sounding words, with this artificial language. There will be people who admire, there will be readers who admire this vulgar style. Just like all those audience who like people who use artificial makeup to enhance their beauty. So there are group who will enjoy your writing. And he continues, keep to your sounding generalities, your tingling phrases, and all will be well. Swell out an unmeaning truism to a perfect symphony of style. So, as I said earlier, he is writing this in a sarcastic tone. He is addressing all those writers who use gaudy style, and he says that you keep your sounding generalities, you use all those artificial language, all those tinkling phrases which will sound good. What are these tinkling phrases? Tinkling phrases are those words which sounds good but which contains no meaning. And he says that all will be well, and swell out an unmeaning truism. Truism is sincerity. Unmeaning truism is something which is not sincere. So it will be just all those perfect symphony of style. So you will be making all those high sound, but it will be completely empty. And he says that a thought, a distinction is the rock on which all this brittle cargo of verbiage splits at once. Such writers have merely verbal imaginations that retain nothing but words. So a person who thinks, a person who knows the distinction between vulgar style and familiar style, that will act as a rock on which all your tinkling phrases will break. The brittle cargo of your verbiage splits at once when a person who thinks or who understands what is natural and what is not. There ends your journey as a writer. These writers are just giving out all those verbal imaginations which doesn't contain any meaning. It is nothing but words. So he is addressing all those writers who uses all those high sounding words, and he says that you keep on using all these things, but when a reader who has this discretion to understand what is natural or not, then there ends your journey. Your verbiage splits. Your verbal play will split there, will end there. And he says, he continues, or their puny thoughts have dragon wings or green and gold. If they criticize actor and actresses, a huddled phantasmagoria of feathers, spangles, floods of light and oceans of sound float before their morbid sense, which they paint in the style of ancient pistol. Not a glimpse can you get of the merits of defects of the performers. They are hidden in a profusion of barbarous epithets and willful rhodomontade. So this is a perfect example of how you write in a gaudy way, a vulgar style. Look at this single passage. It contains a lot of high sounding word. So as I said earlier, he is exactly using all those words which you see in a vulgar style just to explain how it looks so odd, how it looks so quaint. So he continues, the idea is like this: though all those actresses and all those actors who comes on stage with all those phantasmagoria of feathers. Phantasmagoria is a kind of a dreamlike image or a sequence of fantastic images you see in a theatrical performance. So all these actors and actresses come with feathers, spangles, floods of light as you see in a theatrical performance, and there will be oceans of sound. And you see the characters like Ancient Pistol. Ancient Pistol is a comic character in Shakespeare's play Henry IV, Henry V and Merry Wives of Windsor. So he is a companion of this famous comic character Falstaff. So you can create these kind of characters, which uses feathers, spangles. So here he is trying to say that you can use all those high sounding words, all those artificial artificial language, or all those unnatural vulgar expressions, all those clownish pronunciations, just like a character you see in a theatrical performance. You will never be able to understand the merits or defects of this performers, because before your eyes you see only this dream-like images of feathers, spangles, all those ornamental decorations, which will take your attention away from the naturality or the true beauty of this performance. So he says that the true beauty is hidden in a profusion of barbarous epithets and willful rhodomondade. Rhodomondade is something like a boastful language. So he says that when you use that florid style, you are actually trying to conceal the absence of substance, absence of content, and you may use all those pompous, all those pedantic expressions, and in that you are trying to hide all those things which you lack. So this last paragraph, I say, is a perfect example of how you write in a gaudy way. So through this he is trying to ridicule all those writers who prefer to use gaudy style. So here ends this essay. Please read the essay once more and then come to this lecture. Hope it is clear. Thank you. Have a nice day.